Peace, good peoples. Muzzy Mike, on the mic, coming at you from my car in a random parking lot in my beloved hometown of Brampton, Ontario, Canada, yet again. I'm here today to talk to you about this foam ball. Wow, cool, yeah. For those who don't know, this is the Kaotica eyeball, made with a patented foam and a custom-built pop filter. It is a microphone isolation device meant to minimize the reverberations and echoes in a given recording space so that you get as clear of a signal or recording as possible. At $200 Canadian, is it worth getting? Yes, that's my long answer short. But my recommendation probably only applies to a minority of the people that will be watching this video. If you are a voice actor or a YouTuber or a podcaster, I do not recommend this at all. And even if you are a musician, it depends on a few things. If you do have space available to you that you can afford to soundproof and acoustically treat, like a closet, do that instead. You could probably do it for about the same price as you would pay one of these, and it would be better quality. But if you're like me and you don't have a spare closet and you're on the road a lot and would like to be able to record in your car without soundproofing it, because that's not really a practical thing to do anyways, then it might be for you. But before I get into that, I do want to touch on the downsides and why I think it weeds out the people I said I wouldn't recommend it to. And then I'll explain my own experiences with it and how that has colored and informed my recommendation, if narrow at that. The first downside is the price. Like I mentioned, that is $200 Canadian as of recording on September 24th, 2024. Even though this is a downside, they are on sale right now. They're having a clear out sale at 40% off. I have no affiliation or sponsorship with them, so I'm not benefiting from that. But if there is a time to get it, it is now. Regardless, it's expensive, and I can understand people's apprehensions paying $200 or whatever the discount is for a patented foam ball and a custom pop filter. For YouTubers and podcasters, this provides quality that you do not need to have a good quality video. It's not to say that there's a really low standard for the audio in podcasts and YouTube videos, but it's easier to get away with having a lower quality audio in these mediums. I've heard very borderline poor audio, but because the nature of this content is just to listen to someone talk about something, depending on what it is, it's easy to overlook something like that. So I'd say it's definitely not necessary. And if you already have a microphone, even a cheap microphone, like under this is just an AT2020 USB condenser microphone, that by itself is probably good enough quality as it is. So the expense is one thing. Now the other downside is that while, again, I do believe this brings an improvement in quality, it's not okay because it's covering the microphone at almost every direction. You actually lose out on some of the airiness and high end of the room you're recording in. So for voice actors, and this is why I wouldn't recommend to voice actors, you would have to boost the high end to compensate for what you're losing because of this thing. And a good sound engineer will know that you have artificially brought back that airiness and those high ends. It doesn't sound the same. And I'm pretty sure the AI algorithms and how they emulate these things haven't gotten to that point yet. But for now, an engineer is going to tell the difference, and it's not going to sound as good. You need as good quality audio as you can for these things, usually. So I wouldn't recommend it to voice actors because of that. It does have that compromise in high end a little bit. Now, bearing those things in mind, if those don't affect your decision, then this might be something I would recommend for you. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I am recording in spaces that are not sound treated by any stretch of the term. So from the very first time I used this thing, and this is how I'll try to tie it all together here. The first time I used this was in a living room, my living room at the time that I was recording in, not sound treated at all, like 8 feet tall and kind of echoey. The first time I heard what this was doing for me, which was when I was getting ready to warm up. I had the headphones on and I had the live playback coming through while I was doing some warm-ups, and I immediately heard an improvement in the quality of my voice. So much so that it only made me want to do what I was doing even more, which is great. And I'm not someone who didn't like the sound of my voice before. I'm not saying this is going to magically make you like the sound of your voice, but I could definitely tell that the quality sounded better and I liked it more, like a lot more. So a few months after that as well, I was in college for independent music production, and we had a project where we had to produce a song and go through the stages of production with our instructors. And we were going over my raw stems when we got to my vocal stems, and we're talking raw, like no effects or processing whatsoever. And my teacher heard my raw vocal stems. He asked me what microphone I was using, and I told him it was just a basic Audio-Technica AT2020. This is a microphone I got for $50 used. It was nothing special. He seemed confused about it until I told him that I recorded with one of these, at which point it made sense to him. He said he never used one before, but he's heard enough about it that this only confirmed for him what he's heard and sort of served as a golden seal of approval for me. So given that I'm always recording in spaces that are not treated for recording at all, it gives me an improvement in recording every time. One that and the compromise in the high end is one that I can personally afford to live with. I have recorded in this car with this thing, recorded vocals, like loud vocals. I'll leave a link in the description just to show an example of the stuff I've done. And I don't even do much boosting on the high end to compensate for what is taking off. I'm still it's not, I know it's not studio quality stuff, but for the stuff I'm doing, I'm satisfied with. And especially in post-production, there's so much you could do to compensate for these things, especially when it's a song and you have so many other instruments and elements going on at the same time. It does a really great job of eliminating those background reflections. I think that's why even a lot of artists that are shown off using this are shown recording on a tour bus or in a hotel room. That's something that's easy to bring around, that takes away the need to soundproof an environment. It doesn't provide a better alternative, but it provides a workable alternative when you cannot, like I said, afford to soundproof the space. Maybe someone's done it to a hotel room before. I don't know. But at the very least, if that applies to you, works for you, then I would recommend it, especially now that they have this sale going on. It's a clear out sale, so I don't know if they're ever even going to sell this thing again. But regardless, that's my own personal recommendation. I have had a couple people ask me in the past, and I thought I would just consolidate those answers into this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions or if you want to know anything else about it. I think I covered everything off the top of my head, at least in a one-shot video like this on my break. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about, but if anybody has any more questions about it, like I said, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time, or you'll see me, God willing. Peace.